Skipping class may feel tempting. Maybe you're tired, maybe you're feeling sick, maybe you just don't want to go to school. But the question we want to address here, is it really that bad if you skip class? This is a tricky topic, so let me try to navigate it carefully and watch people getting mad at me. Also, don't forget that I'm addressing both people from high school, college, masters, and so and so. So the higher degree that you're trying to get, obviously the harder the classes. So take everything with a grain of salt. The presence list and the maximum amount of absences. Some students start the year going after the calendar to see how many classes they can miss without failing the class. However, missing classes can have tons of disadvantages, but it can have some advantages. So hear me out. If you're taking this course, chances are that you're not going to class just because you have to. Chances are that you actually want to study, that you want to be better, and that you have the sense of responsibility that at this point in your life, this is something that you have to do. This is something that you gotta do if you want to step up your game. And if that's you, congratulations. You're probably ahead of the game. Now let's start here. Skipping class usually has to do with a lack of interest. Think of this. Professors and teachers usually go through the trouble of sorting out of that entire book what's really important. So if you were to not go to class and now you have to read the chapter over, chances are that you may, 1, focus on the wrong things, and 2, waste a lot of time in the process. But now I'm also not going to be a hypocrite, because I know that there are classes that are a total waste of time. What are those classes that you could get the same amount of work done in like a fifth of the time? And then with the time that you have left, you would just work on other things. So if you know that this class falls into that category, and that if you miss the class, you won't sacrifice any amount of comprehension, and your time is worth more somewhere else, it's probably okay for you to miss class. Again, I'm not telling you to miss class, but I'm giving you a real example of why you possibly want to skip class. But again, that is your call. Now let me expand and give you a couple reasons for each side. Let's start with why you shouldn't miss class. 1, class is your primary and most reliable source of information. 2, not everything that your professor says is gonna be available in the textbook, and this is huge. 3, usually the material from the current class is building upon the material from the other classes. So if you miss this one, the next one you're gonna struggle a little bit, and then so and so and so and so. 4, and this is where most people overlook this. Don't miss out on the opportunity of creating connections with your professors. 1, they could open many doors for you. 2, they are people. They're usually very interesting people. And they like to engage with students. There's a reason why they decided to make that their career. So it turns out that when you get to know your professors, you end up learning a lot more than just class material. 5, if you miss the class, you're likely losing the chance of asking questions right there, right then about the material. 6, this is impossible to know, but you could miss an extra credit. And 7, also often overlooked. If you start missing classes, people are going to see that as a lack of interest and commitment. And here's the thing, you're not thinking about it now, but soon enough, you're going to find yourself in a situation that your colleagues, your classmates are going to be older, you're going to be older, maybe you're going to be starting a business, maybe you're going to be applying for jobs. And now, those guys, those girls are going to remember you in your work ethic. Now, when people think about you, are they going to remember of a good work ethic? Are they going to remember about your commitment? Or are they going to remember how you were slacking the whole time? If you were slacking the whole time, maybe you're not going to get that job. Maybe you're not going to get that client. Maybe you're not going to get that connection. So think about that. I know a lot of people overlook this, but this is important. Now, reasons for skipping class. 1, obviously, if you're sick. If you're truly sick, go to a doctor, go check it out. There's one saying that I saw in the Minimalist podcast that they say, and I'm pretty sure he's taking from somewhere also, but a healthy person wants 1,000 things, and a sick person only wants 1. So, this is a reason for skipping class. 2, if you need a break, if you are overwhelmed, your mind is just not in the right place, and you feel like you are absolutely exhausted. We didn't really understand it back then, but now we're starting to get a lot more. Mental health is very important. So if it turns out that you do need a break, and you do need some me time, you need to go do something else, go do it. It's fine. It's one day of class. And then 3, if you know you can miss the class is going to be, a study hall, or nothing's going to happen, the professor said so, it's the end of the semester, especially when it's the end of the semester, because you can spend that time studying for that test or other tests. But at the end of the day, take everything here as a guide. You're going to be the decision maker of whether it's worth to miss that class. But whenever you do, just remember and ask yourself, if I miss this day, what is the alternative? What's going to happen after? What am I going to do instead? So if I miss this day, am I going to spend a lot of time trying to recoup and trying to learn everything that I could have learned? Or maybe I can use this time to do something else that is more productive and more important. Finally, on a side note, I want to tell you a quick story that I feel like it's worth putting out there. I was always a straight A student. I would spend most of my time studying. I would never miss a day, and I would always be at school, always doing my best work. Now, here's the thing. I remember a story of my mom on a random Tuesday. I was probably, 12? Maybe even younger? Not sure. And she looked at me, she was like, hey, do you want to skip class and go to the beach? I know, my mom inviting me to go to the beach on a regular weekday. I bet you probably want to have that mom too. But my nerdy, younger 6th grader self decided that he couldn't possibly miss class. I know. As much as I love my studies, and as much as I love learning about the world and, taking pride on the fact that I always took my work seriously, I regret the decision. And you can probably see why. I learned a lot from it. It taught me a lot. Now, whenever I have similar decisions coming up, I usually try to do the following. I ask myself, am I going to remember this in 10 years? If I had asked myself if I would remember that random beach day with my mom, or if I would have remembered that class, well, mom. And, truth is, I had no idea what I had that day. I probably had some version of some assignment, but it's clear that question may lead you to decisions that you possibly wouldn't do if you were only thinking logically. And the question really is, even if I were to get a hit on my grades, was it worth it? That's the point, and that's what I want you guys to also realize. You are people. You're not robots. You're taking this course, you're learning this stuff, but you're learning this stuff so you can have more time to go be a human being. I don't want you to be a robot. I don't want you to be the only 100th straight A student. What I want you is for you to make the best use of your time when you're studying, so you can be your best version then, so you can be your best version when you're doing something else as well. So again, I want you to be people, not robots. The material is going to be there regardless. It's going to be there forever. Now, those memories that you can build and the people, those won't be around forever. Anyway, in short, you generally don't want to miss class, but there are many instances in which it's perfectly logical or emotional to do so.